Well, hey, Facebook and wherever else we appear. I'm Tiiu, and as you can see, I'm sitting next to my friend, Dr. Michael Gross, who happens to be on his way right now. He had a little issue he had to go take care of, but he will be with us momentarily. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him while we're ready and waiting for him because we have this brand new format that we're doing. And I can't wait to start interviewing him. So I hear he's going to be here any minute. I can hear him coming in now. So here we go. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to also bring forth their intuitive abilities. I didn't know we all had intuitive abilities until I met Michael. So I'm really, truly blessed to be part of this interview that we're getting ready to do and all the wonderful things that he's taught me in the 4 years that we've been working together. So back to Michael's intro, okay? Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self-empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. And there he is. Welcome, Michael.
Hello, everyone. Thank you.
While you're settling in, I'll finish your introductions, okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. As I said, he currently teaches classes in spirituality, self-empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the True Source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the True Source. Michael currently lives in Lakewood, Washington, and I am thrilled, literally thrilled, to see his beautiful face on the screen.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome, Michael. If we have some interview questions for you, and
Great.
we do this for about 30 minutes, give or take a little bit on the flip side. So is there anything you'd like to say at the very beginning before I start asking the questions?
I want to thank everybody for joining us. I appreciate it. It's a little cool this evening. And, excuse me, welcome your questions and the challenge to answering questions. So please feel free. All right, Tiiu and I enjoy doing this, answering your questions. You may not have a question now, but she may ask something and you may think of something you have an inquiry about. So feel free. All right, Tiiu,
Perfect.
let's do it.
Okay, perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up. Everybody on Facebook can put their questions in the comments, and if I have an opportunity, I'll ask you them. And while you're explaining things, at one point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my eyes off the screen so that I can put your contact information in the chat as well. So here we go. Okay, Michael?
Perfect.
Okay. We all know that there's a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. We see it on the news, we see it on the internet. Can you give us some advice on how we can handle that? And when we start getting too overstressed, what we can do to, calm things back down?
These are very chaotic times. And being such chaotic times we're having, I was talking to a couple of astrologers, and they've been pretty accurate over the last few years with astrology. And this is a period where a lot of frustrations are coming out, a lot of hidden secrets will be revealed. And it's also a period for this year till December 31st. It's a year of evaluation. So we're under so much stress, and we see the protesting that's going on and people's emotions and feelings. And because of the emotions and feelings that's going on and the uncertainty, we've lost coping skills. It's so interesting for us to realize that when we were growing up, we had something going on in our lives. Our parents would say, work it out, or give us a suggestion. But instead, now we're just expressing ourselves and screaming and yelling or doing what we think is right. And we forget about critical thinking. And critical thinking is that we have to remember that everyone on this planet, we're all part of the whole, meaning we're all part of everyone. I am much as part as you or you or me. Doesn't make a difference of your religion or your race or whatever you are. And with all this anxiety and the questioning, we just got over COVID. And I was talking to my son, and he said, Dad, when the kids are so different today, They don't want to socialize as much except when it's on the computer or their phone. And that socialization is so much because we have to learn how to relate to one another. We have to know that we can cut some slack, so to speak. And the division is getting worse on this planet. Kind of reminds me of what we're going through as a period, not quite as serious, although it could become, when the American Revolution took place. We had the Tories and the Patriots. And the Patriots were, in a minority, but they didn't want taxation without representation and so on and so forth. And all the things the King of England and England had oppressed upon us. And there were families that were fighting each other. And then we have the Civil War, the North versus the South, and families were fighting each other. And now we have political where families are fighting each other. We're not looking at the big picture. And the big picture is that we're all one and we were created out of love, by love, and from love, and with love. So really, how do we cope with this? Well, the first thing I'm going to tell all of you is that when you look at the news, for the most part, they say this is the news. It's really someone else's opinion. Not all the time, but a great deal of the time. And I don't mind if you say it's your opinion, because I've got my opinion. But they tell this is the news, and you've heard me say this before. But in the news, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the old kind of cliche that they use. So we have to be very discerning, and when we watch the news or turn the news off, or when you see something, ask how it affects you, and how would you feel if you were in their place, and what's really going behind the scenes. What's the real reason these things are happening? And that's part of discernment, and it's part of critical thinking. So don't take what's in front of you, but really delve deep into it. The Native Americans had a saying, don't judge a person until you walk a mile in their moccasins. And that's really what we have to do. And look at the history of everything. So the basic answer is, when you're upset, I would suggest doing a meditation. Or I would suggest doing a meditation, inhaling dream and exhaling heaven, and do it 108 times. And you're probably wondering, why would I do that? And the reason you will do it is because the two most powerful words are I am. Remember at the burning bush, Moses said, who am I speaking to? I am that I am, which says I exist, and am is another word for God, the true source, or as I call the true source, you're now one. And the other one, dream heaven, actually raises your vibrations, helps you to manifest more carefully, because be careful what you think, because you're going to manifest it. And on the other hand, it lets your soul heal whatever needs to be healed. Here's a plus. And the plus is they looked at Alzheimer's and what was causing Alzheimer's, and there's a plethora of information on it. But what's really interesting about Alzheimer's is we have to keep the neurons and synapses and serotonin in our brain really active and flowing. And they found the three best things. Number three was crossword puzzles. And I have no patience for that. Sudoku, it's okay. But the best thing was to meditate, because it incorporates all part of your brain, which is amazing. These studies were done at Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So using meditating, ask your inner source guidance to help heal, let things go, you're amazed what happens. And give it a little chance. Because if you're upset, most people go, well, it doesn't work. How long you spent on it? Well, I tried it for a minute, it doesn't work. Well, let's see, you're angry, you're upset, you've been upset for 5 or 10 minutes. So you think in 60 seconds you're going to get over this? Just follow the process and you'll be amazed what happens. I hope you all will use that in the days to come.
Thank you, Michael. That was exactly what I did today when I was incredibly upset first thing this morning. I was, just really raging angry. And after a little while, I went down to meditate. I didn't open my mouth because we have to watch our words, right? And I knew if I opened my mouth, it was going to be really, really ugly. And at the end of the meditation, everything had changed. So exactly what you said actually happened. And I'm
Good.
so grateful that I didn't put my foot in my mouth and end up causing another war in the house. So here's my next question. Um, we have, and I saw this the other day regarding a lot of volcanic activity all over the place on our planet. And we all live, we here live in the Pacific Northwest, and that's part of the Pacific Ring of Fire. But it's so active right now. When I saw the diagram, I thought, oh my goodness, this is a global event going on. Can you explain to us why there's so much erratic Earth activity going on, whether it's volcanoes or earthquakes right now?
Yes, that's a very good question. Most people don't realize that we have a symbiotic relationship with Mother Earth, as I call her. Some call her Gaia, some call her Earth, whatever you want to call her. Symbiotic means that we have a direct influence on the earth, on the animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom. And I want to explain that to you. And how I want to explain it to you is that if you ever walk by a plant or maybe some flowers, I think it needs some water or fertilizer out of the blue. Well, what do you think you're getting it from? You think you're getting it from the analytical, logical mind? No, the plant's talking to you energetically. Or you have a feeling that somebody's going to be lost. You have a relationship with that person, or they're going to be late. You just have this gut feeling, as they call it. And what we need to understand is that we're all interrelated. So we're all energy, and we're all talking to one another. And that's so important for us to understand that. And so when we are upset or angry, what happens is that if enough souls are angry, that energy is going to be imprinted on Mother Earth. For example, what I choose to use for you is that you go to a party, you're happy, everybody's depressed. 10 minutes later, you get depressed. Or you don't want to be there, you're tired, you're depressed. I don't want to go to the party, and everybody's jumping up and happy. And 10 or 15 minutes later, you're happy. So there's some kind of an energy exchange that don't require words, but everything is energy. And energy is a vibration or frequency. And you are made out of energy. I call it the soup mix, which you've heard before: the atoms, particles, molecules, neutrino, mitochondria, so on and so forth. And so the soup mix, we have this relationship. And I remember one time the old Art Pell show, it was a paranormal show. He's passed away. I used to be a big fan of his. And it hadn't rained in several months in the Midwest. So he said, I want to do an experiment. And I believe this was on a Tuesday night. And he had like hundreds of thousands of people that listened to him. He used to be on at 10 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning. And he said, let's all think rain and ask for rain for the Midwest. Well, the next day it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. There was no forecast for rain. And he got a little shook up because he said, wow, I don't think I'll ever do this again. And I said to myself, no, you have to say with grace. And some of you may know or may not know, but a non-denominational minister. And many times I'd be doing a wedding outdoors, and it was raining, and I would talk to what's called the nature spirits, and I would say, I'm going to be doing this wedding, and could it stop raining half an hour before, and after I'm through, a half an hour after? You'd be surprised. It always worked. So that's part of our relationship. But if you will look at, I remember the back in, see, it was just trying to think, 87, 88, and 89, there was the white water problem where savings and loans had problems and they were foreclosing on homes. And I was in New England at that time. They had one of the worst winters ever. Not the worst, but one of the worst. So understanding that everything has an effect. And so Mother Earth she's polluted. We've done not recently, but over hundreds of years, so much pollution. We're angry, we're upset. And so she's releasing that energy. And I say she because we refer to her as Mother Earth. Well, the mother supplies you with food, water, right? Minerals, all kinds of different things to help you exist. We don't honor her. And I'm not talking about climate change, but I'm talking about honoring her and give her thanks. So here's what I would suggest all of you to do, realizing she's trying to heal herself. Nothing purifies better than fire, right? And so we talk about a volcano. She's purifying that area and the area around her. So think for a minute. We've poured gas and oil in the old days. We used DDT on the ground. We use other poisons and toxins, which we didn't think about. We were innocent. We didn't think about her as a living, breathing entity and the toxins we're getting in her and some of the fertilizers we use. And I'm going to tell you, everybody, within the next 5 to 7 years, potable water is going to be a rare commodity. Remember that, because we have polluted Mother Earth. So, how can we change things? And the easiest thing is to respect her and send her love. And if you ask for God, the true source, to send unconditional love to Mother Earth and to all the nature spirits, watch what happens to your garden or your lawn. Just watch. You'll be amazed what happens. It's that way of them saying, so thank you. So, all this chaos that's going on with Mother Earth, it's purifying. And we can help purify her by sending her love. Feel that love going through you like a mother's love for a child or a father's love for a child. And ask for healing, and you'll be amazed what happens. That's what's going on. She's cleansing and healing herself. No long explanation, but I felt we need to understand that rather than a one liner. Go ahead. Do you anything else?
Perfect, perfect. Because that also explains the increase in earthquakes.
Yes.
That's her doing this, Mother Earth doing the same thing, right?
She's
Purging and
clarifying
cleansing.
herself and realigning and rebalancing herself. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's move on to one of my other questions because I often hear the word karma. And my mother always used to say, treat people with respect, treat them like you would like to be treated. So can you explain karma and dharma?
Sure. So if we understand the difference, Dharma, let's call it this way. I'm going to rephrase this. Karma is nothing but an experience, all right? It's something you learn from. So karma is kind of a challenging, some people would say negative. I like the word charging, experiencing. So if you have a something that occurred, maybe you stole some pencils from someone. Well, the challenge would be you're going to have pencils stolen from you. That's karma. Oh, now I know what it feels like. I'm not going to steal pencils. Or it could be something greater. Then, supposing when I moved out here, I didn't know what I was going to live in the Northwest, but I had a big home and my friends would stay over. If they lost their apartment, they would stay over. And then I came out here and I really didn't know anybody. And 2 weeks later, some friends from Boston move out and they called up and said, "Hey, where are you living?" And I said, "Well, really a motel." And they said, "Come on, stay with us." And that was Dharma, positive return of energy, return of something beautiful that I've done. I speak about right action and correct exchange. The right action is I put people up, correct exchanges, Dharma, they put me up or they take me out to dinner, they do these beautiful things for me. So that's the difference. Dharma is something that you did in the past, even a past life, that is coming back to you in a positive way. And karma is something challenging that you need to learn from. But you don't need to be in karma for the rest of your life. As soon as you get it, it's over and done with, as long as you don't repeat it. The most important thing for all of us to understand is why do we have that? And in the very beginning, we came out in waves. Waves mean we left the bosom of the true source and we went out and created. And we went, I know true source, you're loving. And I know true source that there's only one frequency and energy, and that's unconditional love. But if we cause some chaos, we'd like to have something in return. Let's call it karma. And it means a lesson to be learned or it's something challenged so we can differentiate right from wrong. Now, when you talk about karma, if you do something accidentally, there really isn't any karma if you realize you did something accidentally and you didn't mean to do it. You just ask for forgiveness, period. Pretty easy. But one of the ways, of course, to overcome challenging karma in your life, whatever you did to the person or whatever, just ask for forgiveness and forgive them and forgive yourself. That's pretty hard to do because some people, oh, I don't want to forgive anybody. Good. Suffer your karma. Great. Call me when you're exasperated and we'll tell you how to do it. But when you ask for forgiveness for anything, No matter what they did, even if they birthed out of their body, you can ask their soul to come forward. You have to feel the emotion of it. And then you'll feel a release when you ask for forgiveness. You go, oh. So you ask for forgiveness, then you forgive them because it was painful for them to do it. And then you forgive yourself. And there, bye, karma. I'm cool. So it's awfully important for us to know that. Spirituality, when I asked God the true source about spirituality, and I said, why is spirituality so tough? True source said, you humans got to make a big deal out of everything. Isn't that the truth? We have to make a big deal. All right.
So,
I hope that answered your question. Go ahead, Tiiu.
well, it does, but it brings out another question.
Sure.
Why is it so hard to forgive yourself?
Oh, one word. EGO. Ego. And the ego, you're not worthy of forgiveness, XYZ. You did this and you did that. It's the guilt. So where does the guilt come from? Our family, our friends, our relatives, and religions. They lay the guilt upon us big time. And that guilt, when you're young, builds and builds and builds. And instead of being like a little tiny molehill, it becomes a Mount McKinley or something like that. But it's only in your mind. And I've had people, when I really work with them to do that, they get angry, they get pissed at me, they don't want to do it, they don't want to feel responsible. And then after a while, they call me up, okay, I'm ready to do it. And then afterwards, they go, best night's sleep I ever had. I feel so free and light. Uh-huh. So, kind of, why'd you wait so long? I didn't say that. They'd often say they were sorry for waiting long because I don't believe in rubbing salt into the wound. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I noticed that with our time, we only have time for maybe a few more words of wisdom from you, Michael. So, is there anything that you'd like to add, as well as what we've already talked about?
Well, yes. The grand energy on this planet is love. And there are many teachers that taught unconditional love, which it means it's non judgmental. We had Buddha, we had Krishna, we had Jesus, we had even Plato, although he was an ascended master, but they don't quote very much from him. And even others that gave us, hints about unconditional love and forgiveness are so important. And we need to understand that we're here for the experience. And the hardest thing for us to do is admit we're wrong or made a mistake. And that's our ego. But I have so much respect for people if they wrong me and said, look, I'm sorry, I apologize, forgive me, I just screwed up. I go, no problem. And I know how tough it was for a person to say that. And you can tell whether they mean it or just idle words. And that's really important for us to understand that. When a person really means it. And then I hear, well, I can forgive, but I can't forget. Bingo, then you haven't really forgiven. Now you're carrying that anger. So here you're carrying all this anger in your body. What do you think it does to your body? Right? Your hormones start flowing in different directions, neurons and synapses, and serotonin in the brain changes. You may develop some kind of anxiety, high blood pressure, by the way, ulcers or renal failure. Every part of your body responds to something. And if you really look at it, if you got a bad back, you're worried about money, you're carrying a heavy load, or you're angry. Or perhaps your mobility isn't the same because you don't like the direction you're walking in. Or perhaps your heart hurts or you have a heart condition because you're not feeling love. I can go on and go on. Louise Hay wrote a book about that, and there are many others that you need to be aware of. So the most important thing we need to do is forgive. Forgive those and forgive yourself. And if they don't want to forgive you, that's their problem. They'll make themselves sick, which I hope they don't. But it's more important that you don't. I know we're running close to on time. We got time for one quickie or not?
Well, let's see. The holidays are coming. Let, let's pop a little in there about Thanksgiving because that's next week. And then you know the insanity that happens right after Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Any words of wisdom?
Thanksgiving or any holiday, Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas, St. Patty's Day, any excuse to get together is so important. Because what happens, when you're around other people and they're happy, they're joyous, you've got great food, you're laughing, your energy changes. Within your energy, there becomes this energy of peace, and with peace, there has to be love and peace and love. So, gatherings with people, sharing food. One of the ways in which Jesus wanted to attract a lot of people, he would have free food. Gee, nothing's changed. Give a bunch of people free food and they'll show up. But there was a reason that. And there was a fellowship. They laughed and so on. And then he would explain a little bit about his purpose. And that was reconnect to the true source. So food is a time for joy and happiness. And look at yourself. Some people are angry they don't eat food. Sometimes when they're angry, they eat too much food. And they talk about comfort food. Think about that. A lot of things go on with food and then fellowship with someone else and laughter and joy. And you walk away, wow, that was fun. The food was great, but I like Jane or John or whatever, and we had fun. That's the idea of getting together and sharing your energy with each other because you share it when you're with one another. And I know we're running a little short on time, so it's not quite 7:30, but I wanted to share this with everyone. And what I wanted to share with all of you is, first of all, if you're new to this or you see it on YouTube, please subscribe to Dr. Michael B. Gross YouTube and push the subscribe button and share this with others. It's really important. And I also would like to share with you that the second Saturday of every month, we have what we call the Mass Consciousness Healing. And it starts at 9:55 a.m. and it goes to 11:01, maybe a couple minutes after. So it's usually an hour and 6 minutes. But what's so important is you feel this love. There's a way to bring in the true source of unconditional love. And that's the energy that heals you. That's the energy that gives you the strength to overcome all the challenges. And then you become a conduit. And this beautiful energy comes out through your heart and touches everyone around this planet, the animal, mineral, and vegetable kingdom, Mother Earth. And to access that on the second Saturday every month, the telephone number is
Okay, here we go. It's 202-926-1059 and the access code, Michael.
125-446-pound.
I'll give that again. 202-926-1059. And the code, Michael?
125-446-pound. So everybody, I would encourage all of you to join us. Now using the same telephone numbers every Tuesday evening from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's called Soul Awakening. And that's where you ask any questions like this, but more of a personal nature if you wish or whatever. And hopefully I can answer them. And then about 10 minutes before we end, I deliver a 10-minute motivational little message that's channeled from the true source. And it's really, there are 306 or 7 of them now. However, I would like all of you to spread the word. Now join us on the second Saturday, but every Tuesday evening. And the telephone number for that is
202-926-1059 and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound. So it's the same as Saturday. Give it one more time, please. Thank you.
Sure. 202-926-1059 and the code, Michael?
125-446-pound. And one more I'd like to add, and that is that all these 306 or 7 messages, they're all recorded. And if you go to YouTube, you can watch some of them. And there's a beautiful photograph with a little saying on it or a motto. And of course, our photographer someone that you may know is award-winning photographer, which is Tiiu. And so thank you, Tiiu, for doing that.
You're welcome.
Or if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can be in the car and you can access this information while driving, stuck in traffic, being angry or upset, especially with the holiday season. And to access that information,
You dial 434-300-4170 and the access code, Michael?
in access code 125-446-pound. Then it's going to ask you what number, and it goes from number 3 through 306 or 7. Tia, would you give that one more time, please?
Absolutely. It's 434-300-4170. And the code, Michael?
125-446-pound. I wanted to share that. So when you're stuck in traffic or angry or upset, it'll calm you down. And I get so many people. I didn't know what number 114 was, but wow, it's just what I needed to hear. So it's really important that you do that, everyone. And there's one further item I'd like to bring up, and that for you that are new, I offer a complimentary session. And that complimentary session is 20 minutes to a half an hour. And you can ask any questions you so desire. So I just wanted to pass that on to you. And now I see Tiiu's trying to usurp me, but she beat me this time. We have a little competition. These are our books. This is called Healing the Holes in Your Soul by Tiiu Nap. I know the guy that wrote the forward to it, but I'm not going to tell you. And it's going to really change your life because it's all about self-worth, self-love, and self-empowerment and raising yourself out of the gutter of despair into the phoenix, the mythological bird born from the fire. And this is Tiiu Nap's story. And this is her story, how she overcame all that adversity.
And here is where I highly recommend everybody starts. This is the spiritual primer written by the same guy that wrote the forward in the book that he's holding, Dr. Michael Gross. And I highly recommend this book. It's so awakening. It woke me up. It told me so many things that it gave me a brand new perspective on life. And so obviously I not only bought the book, but I hired him to help me. And I have never, ever regretted doing just that because I've spent 4 years with Michael, working with Michael, and he has totally changed my life and my perspective. So start with this book, because if it wasn't for this book and the gentleman sitting right next to me, virtually, the book he's holding would not have been written. And I'm truly blessed and honored to have him in my life. So these make wonderful gifts. The holidays are coming, and definitely, connect with Michael for his complimentary offer. And if you want a signed copy of the book, connect with either one of us. All the information is in the comments.
Thank you. By the way, my book is not on Amazon. It was, they ran out of them. I will be getting it to Amazon when I get around to it. But more importantly, if you contact me, I'll give you a signed book. And there's one other further thing that I'd like all of you to know. And then what I want all of you to know is that you are very special and your life is very special. And give thanks for your beautiful life because that is so important. You asked for the gift of life. Now let it appear, let it be with you. And in the coming years and time when you're in despair, listen to one of the recordings that I talked about. Most importantly, honor yourself. And when you go to sleep at night, this is something I'd like you to do. Look into the mirror and say your name, whatever your name is. You are unlimited. Say it 9 times. 9 is very important because whatever you review in your mind before you go to sleep, you review in your subconscious mind. Because you are so special. You're so beautiful. You are the solution. You are the answer that can change this world. And I believe in all of you. So thank you. Share this with everyone and join us next week at the same time. Stay well, everybody. Take care. Good night, everyone. I love
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste. We love you too, Michael.
We love you.